It's hard to believe, but the Cup will be in the building on Monday. The Lightning could sweep the Canadiens. Feels like a one-sided story. And it's also going to be a very short recap from me today because there are not many storylines, and I know a lot of you guys who are watching this series might be thinking that this series was not as exciting as you thought it would be. If imagine it was the Lightning and the Golden Knights here in the finals, it would definitely have felt different. But here we are, a 3-0 series lead for Tampa, and they're in the driver's seat. And we'll see if Montreal can put up any sort of a fight. And if the Lightning are able to sweep or win it before next Sunday, I will do the next recap, the final recap of this season earlier the next Sunday. Okay, I'm gonna share a meme with you all, my little podium meme. You can read that on your own. Shout out to my boy here, Ludovic Stremler, who has definitely been a source of happiness and hype for the Montreal Canadiens, and I think they need that more than ever for Game 4. Alright, so let's go over everything that has happened so far this week. Tampa and Montreal series is 3-0 for Tampa. Power play for Tampa is 36.7%. Montreal's 20.4%. Both teams have scored on the power play a couple of times, which ended the Montreal Canadiens' penalty killing streak. Penalty killing for Tampa, 83.1%. Definitely totally fine against the Canadiens. And the Canadiens still a very high percentage on the penalty kill, but obviously that has dropped by nearly 3% from last week. They're down to 90.6%. They'll need to lock that down if they want to have any chance of coming back. Top 3 point getters for Tampa Bay. Kucherov, 32 points, leading the league. He pretty much should win the Conn Smythe unless they give it to Vasilevsky, but Kucherov, a very high chance he gets it. Braden Point with 14 goals, 23 points. Stamkos, 18 points. And these three are the top 3 in playoff scoring for the entire league, which makes sense in a way. For Montreal, Nick Suzuki, 15 points. Tyler Toffoli, 14 points. Cole Caulfield and Corey Perry with 10 points. Goaltending Vasilevsky, as you know, he's been amazing. 15-6, 1.94 goals since average, 938 save percentage, allowing just 5 goals in these 3 games. So certainly, he has been playing well. Carey Price, he has had a tough series. 12-8 and 921 save percentage. It doesn't take away from the heroics he's had in the first 3 rounds, but certainly getting lit up a bit here in round number 3, allowing 13 goals in 3 games. Definitely not the Price that we have seen in the entire playoffs. He's allowing a lot of shots from the point, and I think he's not comfortable in it, and we can see that for sure. And rest assured, he will not be benched for Game 4. We're not going to see Jake Allen for Game 4 just because they're on the brink. And just because Price is not playing well right now. Don't count on Jake Allen coming in, because he won't. Carey Price has been their anchor, their hero for much of the playoffs. Basically the entire playoffs. It'd be weird. It'd be awful to take him out of action now. So let's go over the 3 games played so far. Game 1, 5-1 for Tampa. The Habs are back in the finals for the first time since 1993. 28-year wait. Eric Chernak tipped one home early. Price of a huge glove save off Stamkos. Gord scores in the second. Yanni Gord, a very much a sleeper for anyone that's been watching the Tampa Bay Lightning. Don't sleep on Yanni Gord, because he's been good. Carey Price with huge stops again. Sherratt scores, deflecting off 2 Tampa players. Weber denied on a breakaway. Kucherov scored twice in the third period. There were some scrums late. Gallagher was bleeding, as you see in the picture. Stamkos snaps the penalty killing streak for the Habs at 32 kills. And the shots 27-19 for Tampa. And Tampa, this one they definitely should have won. And yes, they did win. Granted, I don't think the margin of this game should have been that high, because Montreal was somewhat in it for a good part of the game. So Montreal didn't deserve to win this, but score didn't really reflect how close it was. Game 2, 3-1 for Tampa. Bolts get the first two power plays for the Habs, kill them off. A double minor penalty on McDonough. Habs have a 4-on-3. They don't score. Scoreless after 20. Shots are 13-6 from Montreal. More domination by the Habs early in the second, but Cirelli opened the scoring from the blue line. And Suzuki scored on the power play from a backhander in the blue line, which is a little bit of a trend here, getting a couple fluky goals. But Vasilevsky, he's been great, but he has allowed a couple weird ones. And if Montreal takes anything from the first 3 games, is that sometimes they can score a weird one. Just throw it on net and you'll have a chance. Coleman with a big goal, scoring with less than a second remaining in the second period, which I think was a bit of a dagger. Shots 16-7 for Montreal in that period. Andre Palat scored from a turnover from Edmondson, and they take a 2-0 series lead. The shots are 43-23 for Montreal in this second game, and I think that reflects how good Montreal played that game, but also reflects how good Tampa can play and convert on their chances. Yes, Montreal had 43 shots, but a lot of them from the perimeter, so the Lightning definitely stifling their slot chances, even though they had a couple of those. Vasilevsky, of course, excellent in Game 2. Shows how good Tampa is for winning this, but it also showed that Montreal belonged here, at least for the moment. Because in Game 3, 63 for Tampa. Dominic Ducharme back as head coach. Lightning score 152 in as Jan Ruda fired one through a screen. Eric Stahl, the delay of game penalty for the Habs, and Hedman squeaks one by Price for a 2-0 lead. And at that point, Price looked shaky, and a timeout was called by Dominic Ducharme, 3:27 in. I think that was the right move, even though it might have proved more important later on. I think if they didn't take the timeout there, it could have been worse, and it could have been over, maybe like 10 minutes in. A big save by Price after that. Philip Deneau gets his first playoff goal to cut the lead in half after 20 minutes. Shots were 17-12 for Montreal, but not getting many slot shots, for sure. 2 goals early in the second again, with Kucherov and Johnson making it 4-1. Nick Suzuki made it 4-2 with a weird low goal late that went through Vasilevsky's legs. Tyler Johnson scored in the third. Perry responded late, but with just 39 seconds later after Johnson scored to make it 5-3. And Blake Coleman gets the empty netter. And shots 35-30 for Montreal, but the Cup is in the building for Game 4 on Monday at Bell Center, Centre Bell. And I gotta say, that Game 3 definitely felt like a dominant game for Tampa, even though Montreal had their opportunities. And I did post on Twitter that I do believe Vasilevsky has a slight weakness on low shots. He tends to expect high shots, and I think Montreal needs to look at the tape and see how they've scored their goals and see if they can get a book on Vasilevsky, because Tampa obviously has got the book on Carey Price. So if Montreal has any glimmer of hope to come back in this series, they need to come up with something on Vasilevsky and come up with it quick. Alright, so takeaways here. 40 of 82 games so far in 1-goal games. None in this series. 26 games so far went to OT. The record is 28. That can still happen, but a bit of a long shot. Lightning can get outplayed, but they don't lose. 3,500 fans in Bell Center still. The Quebec government denied the ask to get 10,000 fans in there, and a little bit of a confusing move there by the Quebec government, but it is what it is. It could be all over on Monday in Game 4, and Tampa Bay could sweep. That would make it a very uninteresting series, won't it? The Habs lost when scoring the 3 goals, breaking their streak, first time in the playoffs losing when doing so. I think it also goes back to every Habs playoff run where they just don't lose when they score more than 3 goals. I believe the record is like 68-1, something like that. Well, they lost this time. So, 3-0 series lead for Tampa. Obviously, Montreal not looking good for them. I don't think the series is over yet. If I was Tampa, I know this might come off as a bit of a weird thing to say, but I believe Tampa can lose Game 4 by their own will. Because I firmly believe if Tampa wants to win the Stanley Cup, of course they do want to win the Stanley Cup, I would hope that they would win it at home. It would make it a better atmosphere. Obviously, I don't think they lose on purpose in Game 4, but I feel like they don't have to play as hard, and they can let it be a 3-1 series lead, and they know Tampa, the Lightning, and I think they know that they have the advantage, and they can probably close this out whenever they want. But the most important thing for Tampa is not to sit back, and it's a thing I admire in the Tampa Bay Lightning, that they don't sit back when they have to lead. Even when they had the 4-1 lead in Game 3, they didn't sit back. They kept pushing. When Montreal got a goal back, they didn't let another one go in. I think the Lightning have the attitude and the skill, the grit. They have everything it takes to win the Stanley Cup, and they're firmly in the driver's seat right now. So we'll see you next week for my final recap. It could be on Tuesday or Wednesday next week. If it's a sweep, if it's later on, we'll probably do the recap the day after the series is over. But I will probably go a little bit longer video for the final recap of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Obviously, today's recap very short compared to my previous weeks, but there's honestly just not much to say other than Tampa Bay has the chance to win it on Monday, and we're all here to see it. Yes, it might be a little disappointing if this ends in a sweep, but that's what hockey is. In a scuffed season, the playoffs might be scuffed too. Alright, so we'll see you next time. Hope you are enjoying the hockey, and I bet a lot of you will tune into Game 4. It's going to be an exciting day in Le Centre Bell. And whatever comes ahead here, just enjoy it. Don't complain too much. Stay positive, Habs fans. Have some belief. And until next time, we'll see you later. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend.